Good evening and welcome to the Holly Township Parks and Recreation Commission. This is a meeting of our regular meeting. It's July 9th, 2025. I'd like to call. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Next, roll call. Madam Secretary, please.
Commissioner Carl,
Here.
Commissioner Hutchins,
Here.
Commissioner Wright,
Here.
Commissioner DeSessa,
Here.
Earl here.
Okay, we have a quorum. Thank you. We have Okay, next is item number 4, approval of minutes. I know that I've just hope everybody's had a chance to review them. Do I hear a motion to approve the minutes from the regular meeting held June 11th, 2025?
Make that motion to approve the minutes of the meeting June 11th, 2025.
Thank you. Motion by Commissioner Wright. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Second by Commissioner Carl. Now, I know that I always do a roll call vote, but I'm going to try to shorten our meetings. And I'm going to just go ahead and, I'm just going to say tell me what your motion is, yea or nay, okay? So there's a motion been made to approve the minutes for the meeting held July 11th, 2025. All in favor? Excuse me?
Madam Chair, it's June 11th, not
June
July
11th, I'm sorry. Thank you, sir. June 11th, 2025. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Hearing none. Motion passed or approved. Okay, next is the agenda before us for July 9th, 2025. I'd like to ask for a motion to approve this agenda or to make any changes. Are there any changes or is there a motion to approve this agenda?
My motion to approve.
Very good. Thank you, sir. Motion by Commissioner Carl. Is there a second or support?
I second.
Thank you. Second by Commissioner Wright. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Okay, hearing none, this agenda has been approved. Very good. Next is item number 6, public comment. Now, members of the public may address the commission once recognized by the chairperson for items listed on the agenda only. Comments are limited to 4 minutes. The commission may extend this time by up to an additional 4 minutes by majority vote. Prior to addressing the commission, members of the public are asked to state their name for the record. I see no members of the public. So with that, I am going to move on and simply state that we had no one for public comment. Moving right along to item number 7, old business. So the first item is is to approve the change orders for our exterior painter's contract. Now, I know that our manager was very good and diligent when she brought this to our attention. You know, sometimes after we approve a contract and they start opening things, we find some other things that need to be done. And in this case, we had 3 change orders. Madam Manager, can you please review them, please?
Sure.
with the exterior painters, if you recall that they did all of the nature center, including replacing boards along the east wall and along the back of the nature center. A significant amount of trim work was done, and they painted the entire nature center. And then over at the beach, they did the guard shack, which was a newer all the wood in the fall. But there was significant improvements that needed to be made to the trim boards on the pavilion. So those were replaced. And there was some other, they did the power washing and painted the entire pavilion, including the ceiling of it, and the bathroom, which is mostly brick, but two sides needed to be painted. And so with all of those changes, the T111 boards came to $1,540. The trim boards at the Nature Center was $2,916, and $204 were for the trim boards at the pavilion at the beach. And then the total came to $23,928. And we did have previously paid a down payment on that. So our balance at this point is $22,003. And so that amount has been submitted to Rachel, our bookkeeper, for payment. And then the additional change order was to Greg Crow's Excavating.
Oh, can we just approve this first and then we'll move to Mr. Prose? Thank you. Are there any questions? Oh, first motion. Is there a motion so that we can discuss this? Is there a motion to approve the change orders to exterior painters contract as explained?
Question?
Can we first, we need to place it on the, for consideration. In order to place it for consideration, I need to hear a motion to approve or not approve. After we make that motion, then we can discuss and then we vote. So can I hear a motion so that we can discuss this item, please, to approve or whatever the recommendation is?
Make that motion and consider to approve the change orders to the exterior painters contract.
Okay. Is there a support? I will support. Okay, now we can discuss. All right. Commissioner Carl. Question?
Item number 2.
Oh, okay. With the $2,916, is that the one you're asking for? This is the,
2.
okay.
Does that include labor and material?
You know, to tell you the truth, I'm not sure. I think it probably does.
I thought I heard that the boards we had left over from the beach house were not the same thickness, so
Correct.
we couldn't actually use them. So I assumed that the new boards that they placed included material costs.
That was the first item for one, the T111 boards.
Oh, trim board. On my ear. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, the trim boards were the ones that were primarily along the back of the building, and there was significant damage behind, so that needed to be replaced as well.
We had some out here on the east.
Yeah, there were 7 additional T111 panels that were used, and that was the $1,540. And the trim boards themselves was the $2,916.
So you're saying the T111 was new and not what we had stored?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, they felt that they could use them because the thickness of them were different,
That's what I thought.
and they didn't feel they were going to hold up well. Is that correct? Do you remember that?
Mainly the thickness.
Yeah.
And they weren't boards, they were sheets, 4x8 sheets of the T111.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? Okay, hearing none. So there's a motion by Commissioner Wright, supported by myself. All, since these requires finance, can we have a roll call, please?
Carl,
Yes.
DeSenza,
Yes.
Hutchins,
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Earl, yes. Motion approved.
Motion approved. Thank you. And by the way, I would just like to add that they did an excellent job, and I have heard nothing but really good comments from the paint. So, thank you to the commission for selecting the right color. It was hard. I've heard nothing but good things. So, thank you. Okay, moving on to item number 7B, the approval change order to Greg Pros Excavating LLC contract at a cost of $1,800. And this is for the additional removal of culvert number 3 and the installation of a new culvert, 12-inch by 48 feet. Madam Manager?
Yep. So when we first discussed the contracts, we did at that time, or I should say the commission did at that time, approve the upgrade of gravel to the 21 AA limestone, and that was at a cost of $1,800. And then when he actually went to do the work, he did remove culvert number 3, which is over by the barn, and installed a new 12-inch by 48 feet culvert. And that runs from the large dugout area where culvert 4 joins in front of the barn. And then culvert 3 is in that same area and then runs across the road of the driveway, I should say, of the barn and into the swamp. And so that cost was $1,800 as well. So the total amount then became $16,440. And I think he did the work well. However, as we figured, based on the fact of some of the other contractors and Greg himself saying that because of it not being able to deal with the problems at the top of the driveway or of the driveway for the ball fields and that we were going to continue to have runoff, and we have. So that is something that in future we're going to have to deal with as well. But at least for right now, this has taken care of some of the issues down here, but it has not eliminated some of the issues. So we will have to go back out. But we thank Greg Prose for the work that he did, and it did make a big improvement, but there's still work to be done.
Mhm. Very good. Before we discuss it, do I hear a motion to approve this item?
I motion.
Thank you, sir. Motion by Commissioner Carl. Is there a support?
Support.
Supported by Commissioner Wright to approve the change order to Greg Pros Excavating LLC contract at a cost of $1,800 for the additional removal of culvert number 3 and the installation of a new culvert 12 inches by 48 feet. Roll call, Madam Secretary, please.
Hutchins,
What's that? I've got the total support.
I'm sorry. 16,440. Yes, they did go up.
So
1,800, just 1,800. I'm talking about the change order only, sir, not the overall contract. Just the change order.
yes.
Okay.
Wright,
Yes.
Carl,
Yes.
DeSenza,
Yes.
Earl, yes. Motion is approved.
Thank you. Okay. Yeah, I agree. I'm hoping that we can start within phase 2 really quickly, looking at both Commissioners Hutchins and Carl to work with our manager to get that started as soon as possible so that we can do that. But we still have ways to go. But it's a start. It's a start. Okay, moving right along to item number 8, new business. First item, 8A, is to approve the budget amendments for the FY 24-25 adopted budget. Now, I just a few days ago, I received have them to take a look at, but it's not really the final. She just gave us something so that you can take a look at and to review. So at the end of every budget, at the end of our fiscal year, we take a look at our budget and we determine which line items need to be corrected because they've gone over or we've added something new before that we haven't addressed or whatever. So we always take a look at it. Now, there's two items here. First, she provided us with a cost of what she has spent. You can see this one, and it's dated May 1st through the 31st, 2025. So as what we spent that month. Okay, the month is June. That's when our fiscal year ends. And then there's another page, and that other page shows how much we've spent. And for some reason, I don't have. Oh, here it is. Here it's fine. And we're actually doing very, very well, but it's not the end. June is still, it needs to be added to these numbers. One of the things I've asked her to do is you can see this. We're doing really well on the collection of our revenues overall. As of the end of May, we've collected all our revenues. As a matter of fact, we went over a little by 100.3. And who knows, there may be some additional revenues that may be coming in July. But again, we shall see. But as of May, according to this report, we're at 100.3 overall as it relates to our revenues. And then when you look at the percentage of the budget, with the exception of one item, and that's classes and programs, we have. Oh, there's one other. I'm sorry, interest, of course. Most of them have gone over, and so overall, we have collected the majority of our funds. The biggest fund, of course, that we have here is our tax, and we've gone over by 102.3%. Okay, just to kind of give you an idea of how this report reads, and you can see. Now, when you look at the expenditures, okay, which is down below, and you can see again how much we've spent as of June, July, and you can look at all the totals individually, and you can see all the various line items. And overall, our budget for 24-25 was listed as 217,781. But yet, when you see our expense as at the end of May, we've only spent 110, meaning we have left over about 107 plus thousand in the budget. Now, again, June has not been posted, so we have to take a look at that. Overall, as of May, we've spent 50.8% of our budget. So again, June is coming. Well, has gone and come, and now we have to add those numbers. As soon as she is able to provide me with that information, then I will come back to you all and I will show you where there needs to be some adjustments in the budget. Now, one thing that I'm not really clear. I need to speak with the township treasurer. Usually, this is how I'm used to doing budget adjustments. As long as we don't go over the bottom number, we don't have to go and ask permission from the village council for approval. We can make the adjustments internally. I've got to clarify that with the treasurer. And also because I want to make sure that we do it correctly, I want to look at the audit. Remember, the audit indicated in one item that we had gone over and we had corrected it. So again, I need to make sure we do this correctly. So just based on what I know and the expenses that I think we're going to have, I don't think we're going to go. I'm confident that we're not going to go over our overall budget, and we may have some funds left over. Anyways, so we shall see. We shall see. But I will get that report as soon as I get that. I will forward it to you all ASAP so that you can take a look at it, and then I'll work with the manager and the accountant to see which lines need to go over, and then I'll come back to the next meeting and make some recommendations for amendment. Now, the way the amendment will read, and this is kind of new to me, but again, I will meet with Mary and I will meet with the with the township treasurer, it'll read something like this. It'll say the commission approves the following budget amendments for fiscal year 24-25. Uh, these amendments will be submitted to the Holly Township Trustee Board for final approval. Okay, so they need to approve if we have a budget adjustment, a budget amendment of any kind. They have the final approval, and of course we have the first say, and then we have to go to them for final approval. All right, as the township, whenever we make budget adjustments. All right. Is there a question? I see Joe. Big question.
It's all new territory to me.
Okay. I
Numerous times, quarter, and so we never had to go in front of the township board.
well, they brought it to my attention. They brought it to my attention right away, and it's in the documents that I sent you all. Remember the big stuff, the email that well, you didn't get the email, but in that report it says it goes to the treasurer for final approval. Oh, not not the treasurer, but the board, the trustee board. They have the final approval. Just like when we took our budget, we approved the budget, but they have final approval. So do they. Well, I don't know what to say. Again, I will check because, like I said, and I'll clarify this with the treasurer. As long as we don't go over the bottom line and we make the adjustments so that the account is properly has all the correct funds, we may not have to present it to them. It's only when we go over the 217,000. Okay, but I'm going to check that with the treasurer just to clarify.
Never had anything happen.
Mhm.
Said, "Well, what's your rating fiscally responsible?" We made our amendments, and everything came out, hey, we never had to go in front of the township.
And let me make it very, very clear. Just because we're making a budget adjustment or amendment does not mean that we've gone over our budget. It just means that a line item in this specific account went over for whatever reason. And we will explain. Like say, for example, here's the audits. When we budgeted X amount of dollars, and then come to find out when we got the bill, it was a lot higher than that amount. So that's when a budget amendment of some sort needs to be done and made so that we balance it. Now we usually look at our internal budget to see where that number could come from for payment. But if we can't find it, then we would have to go to our fund balance or another fund in order to make it balance. But you're right, Joe. Just because we make the budget adjustments does not mean that we are going over our budget. It's just showing that we are properly uh, accounting for the amount of money that we spent. That's okay. So, and then it helps us with budgeting too, because like let's say, for example, in 25, we budgeted 500 for concessions. Come to find out, we spent 1,000. And so when we modify that or amend it, I should say, you'll look under the revised item, and you'll see where that number is. Oh, okay.
So just to summarize, you're gonna talk to, you and Mary are gonna discuss with the
Township treasurer. Yeah,
treasurer
to confirm.
to confirm whether or not we need to go before the board to
Mhm.
make any potential changes.
Correct. And I will come back.
I think we first have to talk to our own bookkeeper.
Yeah.
And make sure we're clear on that first, and then if
So-
needed.
I'm sorry. I hope I didn't confuse anybody here. It's I guess the primary item here is that the manager and I will meet with the accountant to review how our budget's going, and if there needs to be any changes, we will come back to the board
So we're just really just reviewing.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, just
Great.
reviewing, and we'll take it back. We will bring it back to this commission for final say. Okay. And I'm sorry, we just received the numbers. Rachel went on vacation, and so we didn't have that. Otherwise, I would have had that information ready. I hope. I don't know. I'm asking for a lot. Usually, budgets are closed a few weeks after the end of the month, like June 30th was the end of our fiscal year, and today's just the 8th. So usually the accountants take about 1 or 2 weeks to, get all the expenses, all the expenditures that go towards this item. Okay. All right. Okay, so I will return this item. We're just reviewing it right now, and I don't believe we need any motions or anything like that, but excuse me, would you like to have a motion?
Yeah, according to the agenda, it says approved, so I think
That's
something has to be done. So I make a motion to table
table.
new business, part A until we have more information.
Thank you, sir. Okay, tabled by Commissioner Wright. Is there a support?
Support.
Thank you, Commissioner. Okay. Earl? I'll get you all's names eventually. Thank you. Madam Secretary, I really need, I look at you and I sometimes say, I feel like I can read your mind sometimes, but I will ask you because you need to, also just because you're the secretary doesn't mean that you can't comment and things like that. And sometimes I feel that way. I will try to ask more
I'm
questions to
sorry.
you.
I'm confused.
So sometimes because you're also taking minutes and I stare at you just to make sure that you got whatever it is that I'm saying. And sometimes I feel that you may have a question and I don't call on you. So I will do that. But I know you're pretty good about standing up and saying, "Hey, Jane, I got a question." Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. So motion by Commissioner Wright to table item A until additional information is brought forth for consideration by the commission. This was second by Commissioner Earl. And we have a roll call on this, please. Again, or do you think we should just do
I think a voice vote would
just
be
a voice
fine.
vote? Okay. All right. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay. Motion passes. Thank you. I'm sorry. I hope I know budgeting is not that simple, but we will bring this back to you all. Okay, item number B. This is a tough one, but this is to discuss the financial impact caused by the pause in the SCEP funding by Michigan Works, and consider amending the FY 25-26 adopted budget to address staffing needs. Now, in this package, the manager has included the latest letter from Michigan Works, and I know that she informed us all that this program was extended until July 31st, 2025. So we have a few more weeks to take a look at this, and the staff is still working and being paid by this program. Again, because I just received well, that's not true. I'm going to be working with the manager and with our accountant to see if next year's or this year's budget, the 25-26 budget, can somehow be amended to add some additional funds for staffing. I don't know if we can do this, but we certainly need to take a look at this. This is staffing that works here at the center at the beach, and so we're going to have to look at that, and we will come back to the commission as quickly as possible to get that information. So for now, I like to turn it over to our manager to see if she has anything else she'd like to add.
So those of you who come into the Nature Center do know our three staff people, Tom and Brenda Martin and Lisa Baggett. They have worked here, Tom's worked here almost 4 years. Brenda, I think, is going on 18 months, and Lisa is just over a year. Now she started working at the beach and then switched over to the Nature Center once the beach closed last year. And they're great workers. I think that they all, not only do a lot of work here, but even when they're out in the community, they're promoting our parks. They're Brenda especially, no matter where she is, she's praising our parks. She's talking about it to people even when she's shopping, and that. And Tom, I can't say enough about how well he takes care of this nature center. And it has nothing to do with his age. It has to do with his attitude. He just considers it his job, and he goes at it 100%. And I think if you take a look around this nature center right now, and Jeff has even commented on this previously, on how much the atmosphere and the decor and that has changed. And that's, I will say, 100% related to Lisa being here, because she goes into, you know, places in this nature center that I don't even know, and she's finding, the great posters and everything. And she has a great way of putting them together with, like, even our animals. She puts the poster and the pictures that are related to those animals right next to them so that the people can relate to, the live animals, the photos, and our taxidermy. And so I just, can't say enough about what a great job that these people do for us. And it not only are they great people, but it fills a void here at the nature center, because there's no way that I could even be here as much time as they're here. And Lisa particularly, she chooses to work on Saturdays so that there's somebody here on the weekend, so that there is time available that for people who work during the week, that it is open, that somebody could stop in if they choose to. And I just think, um, they definitely deserve a chance to, uh, if this program, and we hope that this program continues, don't get me wrong. This has been a great resource for us for years. Even before Tom was here, there were other staff people who came from the same program, the Senior Community Service Employment Program, through the Michigan Works program that the state gets funds through the U.S. Department of Labor for these people to be able to work. And they do have funding at this point through July 31st, 2025. They thought that they were going to be done as of June 30th. That was what they were originally told. So even having this 1 month is a great reprieve for them. But we're hoping that this will extend beyond this point. But at this point, they don't know that they have any further funding. So I don't know. We have talked to all three of them. And the reason that I think it's really important that we wait to see if there is going to be funding is because even their home situations depend on whether they're in this program or not. Because the minute they go off this program and get hired, their personal situation changes as well. And I don't want to go into that, but I just think it's important to know that we're trying our best to work with the leaders of this program. Jane and I have actually been in contact with them, as well as even before we found out about the June 30th. We do a lot of interface with them for our staffers, so that we can keep our part current and also their part current. So we want them to be able to stay in the program if they're able, and if they're not able, then I think at that point we should probably consider something else.
Yes, thank you very much. And that's very key, because the minute we employ them, then, as Mary stated, then they're no longer in that program. And let's say something happens here, they cannot go back to the program. They'd have to, well, they can, but they'll have to start way in the back. And there are a lot of people that are in that waiting list. And so they'll have to wait longer. So for now, this is just discussion. Are there any questions from the commission, or what are your thoughts regarding us taking a look at perhaps, yes, depending on what happens on at the end of July, uh, if we could potentially look at identifying some funds to hire these individuals. What are your thoughts?
I think that's premature. We don't know what's going on yet. So maybe in the next meeting, we'll have more details and we can review it then.
Okay. Yes, Commissioner?
Things are shaking down federally and statewide, and we'll strike when the iron's hot. If we have to have a special meeting to resolve this, we'll do it. But I think you're gonna find the funding coming back through. Everything's shaking right now. When it stops shaking, we'll find out what's going on.
Okay. Any other comments? Yes,
Madam
Commissioner?
Just a question from you to Madam Manager. Do these three employees do any work critical to the operation of the nature center or to the parks, so that if we did lose them, are we in dire straits and for staffing?
Well, I can speak, but I'll let the manager go ahead.
It's not that I think that we couldn't. I certainly could, fill some of that void. But I'm already strapped as far as being able to get things done within the time allotment that I have been given. So, yes, we could get things done,
Okay.
but it certainly would be much easier with them being able to be here time wise and work wise,
Right.
with what they provide.
I'm sorry, Mr. Hutchins. One more question.
Yes, sir.
That question was not to um look down upon
No.
any of the work the employees have worked here. I agree with Manager Blanchard. They have done a remarkable job. My question was more to the point that it, I go under the slogan: if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. And my brain is constantly looking at plans. What if this? What if this? So my question was more as funding did not come through next month, is there anything that we would have to immediately look at to fill? Um, so that was my question.
Well,
Could we have
particularly this time of year would be really difficult for the sake that we're staffing not only the nature center, but we're also staffing the beach. And
they do both, correct?
they do. They do. And they're needed at both it's not that there's not people at the beach who would, take extra hours, but for their program, one of the requirements of their program, and I'll say this specifically to two of them, they were required with their program to work at least one day at the beach as a waiver kind of situation so that they could stay in the program. That if they were not able to do that, that they might have lost their ability to stay in the program. So, we certainly wanted to make that available to them so that they could stay in the program. And so we made sure that all three of them are over at the beach at least once a week per their program. So there's that. But
Thank you.
yep.
So the other, let me ask, are there any comments, questions on this before I ask? Yes.
I thought Joe was
Joe,
going.
I'm sorry, Commissioner.
So the biggest thing with our three people in Michigan Works is you're a good asset for here. Somebody has to answer the phones. Tom does maintenance in here. So does the other two. Tom is head of all of our electric tools and batteries and supplies and stuff. He keeps track of it, keeps it all charged. So our maintenance personnel can. You're not supposed to leave these new battery things unattended. You burn the place down. And like Mary said, to be in their program, they have to be diversified. So they get to go to the beach one and so many hours and work here. Otherwise, that balances out the requirements for Michigan first.
And I would like to point out when you leave here today, take a look at the right side of the entrance. and just take a look at that flower garden, because Brenda, her daughter, and Tom, in one of the hottest days of the summer, were out there using up extra plants that her daughter had bought for her own house. And they brought them here to the nature center and spruced up the garden, and it looks beautiful. And in the fall, they did the same thing and put in asters. So I mean, when they're here, they're not just thinking of themselves or what, they're thinking about the nature center and what they could do to make improvements. And we have to appreciate that.
Commissioner?
Yeah, I just wanted to say they definitely take pride in their work.
Yes.
I think, I, I, I think this department is blessed to have them, and I think that they definitely would be missed would they happen to go away. I know when Brenda had to go on her medical leave, um, both her and Tom were missed considerably. So yeah, I hope that we can find the money either from this program or elsewhere if that need does arise. So.
And I guess the point that I wanted to make, perhaps when we wrote this item, um, the concern that I have, even when we found out that they were going to be leaving on June 30th, um, we would have had to have had that special meeting. We would have had to have looked at our finances to see what's next. And I don't want to wait till the last second. So at this point, I'm not going to consider amending, but I will examine the budget to see where funds could be obtained so that when it happens or if it happens, uh, we'll be prepared a little and we can come to you and have that special meeting and address it. I'm hoping that it doesn't. Now, having said all that, this is a grant program, and eventually these individuals, they are timed out. Is that correct?
Yes.
Could you explain how that works so that the commission will understand?
Well, actually, here in Holly, we have a benefit because there's not many programs that are suitable for them to be able to move to. Because generally, if they're in a different area, they have to be moving on a regular basis. I think it's every 2 years that they have to move to a different program or a different
Different
location so that they can learn different skills. Because as it was explained to us, particularly leading up to this June 30th, that we thought that was going to be their last day. The purpose of this program is so that they could possibly get employed in a different area or facility or that. So 2 years is generally what they have, because there's not that many positions here in Holly that fit this type of program. We've been able to benefit by them being able to stay longer. And that was kind of the waiver that they had to, go through just to be able to stay in the program, even at this point. But the other thing, because Commissioner DeSessa and I had talked to the site lead for their program, we also learned that even though if they do end up, getting hired by our program, or we're not able to hire them, depending, it does not change our status with this program. We would still be able to
That's good.
recruit new people to Holly Township parks in the future. So that's a good thing for us if this program continues to exist. It's possible it won't, but at this point, all we know is that we have funding through July 31st. It's possible that it may continue beyond that point, but they don't even know. So we will have to see how that goes.
And eventually, perhaps not in this budget. Obviously, we didn't consider this matter in this year's budget, fiscal year budget. But in future fiscal years, we should take a look at this so that we can address it slowly but surely, and be able to staff our individuals, okay, and provide them. Yes, sir.
clarification on one of the rules of Michigan Works. If our three people go out and get a job at McDonald's, they're out of Michigan Works.
That is correct. Whether it's here, whether it's a different place, they will be out of the program. The minute they get hired into an actual job,
And they won't
they
be
would
able to
be
come
out.
back to previous Michigan Works position.
Um, only if they go to the back of the line and apply. And currently, I believe there's 60 people who are on a waiting list.
I just like to make that statement public, so it's both ends of the spectrum. Here's what we're trying to do is the balancing act
Right.
with this government program.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
So we want to, do the best we can for the people who have been really loyal to us for a long time.
All right. Thank you all. Any other comments from anyone else? No? Okay. Again, thank you for your comments. It's given us some good discussion. Make sure. I'm sorry, Commissioner. You have another comment or question? No? Okay. Uh, at least and the manager, we hear you. And the good news is you understand how the program works, and that's very key. Um, the only thing I ask is that we review our current budget to see in the event and prepare. Um, but like Commissioner Earl has stated, it may be a little premature because we don't know what's going to happen till we see from July 1st. And I understand. I just want to be a little prepared. So I will take a look at the budget and we'll come back. And if we have to have a special meeting, then we will. These individuals, I like your question, Commissioner Wright, about if they have any specialty or anything like that. I think really they do have specialties all as individuals. Uh, they would be hard to replace, to find individuals like them. They're punctual, they're hardworking, they're you know very passionate about their jobs, and they do a wonderful job. I wish you could see them when they greet people. They come into our center, the little things that they do. So they will be difficult to replace, just so you all know. Okay. We will move on to this item. Thank you all very much. Okay, item number 8C. Now here's another one, but I know that we requested to put this on. This is to approve a proposed fee increase to, in this case, both our park pavilions at the beach and at Sorensen Park, and we are to recommend or propose an increase from a $50 refundable deposit if the pavilion is left clean to a $100 fee with a $50 refund if the pavilion is left clean. If approved, this change takes into effect immediately. Now, anybody who we already have in the books, if this moves forward, they will keep them at the old. But anything after today, we will go to the new fee. These are large pavilions, and yes, I've seen some of the clean work, and they do, but our staff always has to go back to do any further cleaning, to pick up the trash, do sweeping, make any minor repairs that may occur. That's not all. That rarely happens, but still, there could be an instance. So there is still staff time that goes back, and when we give that $50 back, then there's nothing left to pay for maintenance. So I think 50 is a reasonable amount. I don't think that we are out of the ordinary from other pavilions in the area. I've seen them higher in other communities that I've worked in. And so with that, so that before we can discuss, can I hear a motion to address this item, to approve?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, sir. Motion by Commissioner Carl. Is there a second or support? Support. Thank you. Supported by Commissioner Earl. Okay, let's hear discussion now. Or if there is discussion. Yes, Commissioner.
So it's still in some terms. It's $100. It's $50 goes towards rental and $50 will be refunded out of the 100 if they leave it clean.
Yes, sir.
So it's rental fee and a payment fee. Right?
Yes, sir. But they'll get the refund, a $50 refund, if they give it.
Well,
If they give it.
rental.
Yes, sir. Any other comments or questions? Yes, sir. Commissioner Wright?
Have we had a lot of incidents where people have left the pavilions dirty? Dirt, I mean, more so than, typically our maintenance crew will go around and clean up anyway. Did that happen a lot?
I can answer, but I will let our manager first. What are your thoughts?
I wasn't really involved in that much. When I worked at the beach, it was only 1 or 2 times last year that we had somebody who even rented the pavilion. So I wasn't involved in it. I think it has more to do actually with the budgeting that we did for 25, 26, because of the fact that it was included that for the beach rental, that would be like an income kind of a thing as well. I think it was $200. Is that correct? That it was put in there for that.
I don't recall,
I'd have to look.
but we do budget for maintenance.
Yeah.
We
So
do,
I
but
think that was just one of the
Mhm.
reasons that we
Mhm.
had put in there about having an actual fee. The additional thing is that anybody who has seen the pavilion, particularly at the beach, knows what an amazing transformation that
Oh my-
was. With the new paint job and that, I mean, and having the bonus of having, being able to access the beach for the whole day. That's amazing.
for zero
Great.
zero
I
dollars.
just think, even putting that on our website would be a great thing, to, here you are, rent this and, you pay
Perfect.
$100, you get 50 back if you leave it clean.
Now I've seen sometimes in some other areas where they'll pick up a few items, but and they leave it semi-clean, but the staff still needs to go back again and sweep, pick up trash, do some cleanup. Uh, and so that's part of maintenance. Now, recently at the event that we had, it wasn't that way, but they didn't quite use the pavilion. There were some individuals that left some trash behind. Of course, that wasn't in the pavilion. That was in the park, and the maintenance crew did have to go in there and do some cleanup. But it definitely this fee will help us to pay for our maintenance costs, and I think that's important overall. Okay. Any other? Yes, sir, Mr. Commissioner Hutchins.
We used to charge you have maintenance costs, washing down tables, washing off the cement, because what's clean, then all the garbage cans, So I think $50 is cheap for that money to go towards the maintenance of the event that happened at the pavilions, both pavilions.
Mm.
That pays for some of our labor,
Mhm.
whether it's beach personnel or it's our maintenance personnel. Also, we have electricity being used
That's right. I
at
forgot
the
about
beach.
that.
Outlets and lights. Take it all into consideration. $50 is cheap to have 25, 30 people, 40 people in that place. We have 8 tables in there, 2 food tables, and 8 picnic tables. So you do your math, you can pack that place.
Mm. Yes, sir.
You obviously have a reservation, you have a schedule. Is the Mel and Zach, do they know? And is there, Commissioner Hutchins brought up a point that I raised. Obviously, there's work after the party, cleanup. Do we do anything beforehand to prep, to clean the tables and make sure it's spotless for the?
That's another point. That's another
Yeah.
good point. Yes.
The other thing is we do have, I think has been a detriment is the fact that our phone system was not operating at its best, where we probably don't have as many reservations at this point as we have had in the past. But hopefully that's resolved. We have a new phone number, and for the public, our new phone number is 248-534-0366 if anybody needs to get a hold of us. But I think currently we have 4 reservations for the pavilion, but those would fall under our previous contract where it was just, basically you would have a deposit of $50 and you would get that $50 back. So going forward from today, not including those 4 people, it would be the $100 and they would get $50 back if they leave it clean.
Mhm.
Could you repeat the last 4 digits of that phone number?
Just the whole number. I just said it.
248-534-0366.
Excellent. Excellent. Yeah, I like your point, Commissioner Carl, about pre-cleanup. I know that the staff does go back or before people rent the pavilion and they go and they clean it up, make sure where other people may have sat there and eaten their lunch or whatever, they'll go in there, sweep it, get everything nice and clean for there to be
Usually what happens is the night before or the day
the day
before,
before.
we make sure that it's clean, but then beforehand, a few minutes before, people will go in and double check that it stayed that way because,
Proceed.
Mhm. Yeah.
Okay, so this item, 8C, was motion by Commissioner Carl, second by Commissioner Earl. Having heard no other questions or comments, roll call, Madam Secretary.
Carl,
Yes.
Hutchins,
Yes.
Wright,
No.
Earl, yes. DeSessa,
Yes.
motion is passed.
Okay. Moving on to item number 8D. This is to again approve the appointment of a social media and committee website. Now I'm going to turn this over uh, to Commissioner Wright to discuss this further, and he did provide a report for you all early on, so you could follow ahead and hear his comments. So with that, I'll turn it over to Commissioner Wright.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Actually, this list was put together with the assistance of Commissioner Earl. The beginning of when we came onto the commission, one of the things that we uh, fairly early on realized that we needed was a better way of communicating with the public. And one of those ideas was for a website as well as social media accounts. Um, and we had talked about putting together a workshop and kind of got stalled out with other projects going on with park. However, with this new budget and the new fiscal year starting, we have money put aside for the website design. So I think it was time to bring this back into light and get this started. I don't really have any additional things to say other than this proposed topics. Basically, a committee of two to three commissioners, along with volunteers from the community. Um, Preferably someone who has some experience with content creation, um, alternate content creation such as TikToks, things of that nature. Uh, Usually from the younger generations, they have pretty much figured out TikToks, and I think it'd be a great idea to have some younger blood in the mix as it were. Basically going through what the website should contain, um, the policy and procedures about um content moderation or not. If Commissioner Hutchins, I know, saw something on Facebook that he wanted to comment on, does he have the right as a commissioner to comment on the Holly Township Parks website or Facebook page? I think that needs to be addressed. Um, Actually, I have been taking the stance and I've been running it through Manager Blanchard before I post anything on the Holly Township Parks Facebook page. Um, just because what Commissioner Hutchins said in the beginning really resonated that we need to keep administrative and managerial separate. And without a policy in place, I thought I'd best err on the side of caution and go that way. Um, but we need to come up with some sort of policy pertaining to this. Um, uh, a schedule, a schedule that we could stay on for content creation, um, things of that nature. So, yeah.
So I like the idea of perhaps getting a group of the commissioners or even volunteers to come together so that we can it'll help us to put together the RFP to go out and ask for individuals. I've already had several calls from people who want to apply to develop our website, and I'm holding off until this group comes together and decides what do you want on the website. Okay, so but I'd like for us to move quickly because I really would like for us to get this started. Uh, and even after this is done, sometime because I've done this a couple of times in other communities. Once we hire the consultant, they will sit down with us and they'll say, okay, these are the things that you would like for us to do. Here, take a look, and you all have the final say. Okay, so it's not automatic. The consultant will work with us and they'll make whatever changes or additions or whatever that we'd like. Again, I'm hoping that we hire a good contractor so that they can get this done quickly. And but I agree, I would like to hear some insight. Now, when it comes to policies and things of that nature, that's a kind of different thing. Uh, when I see number three, acceptable use policy, what types of posts should be allowed, all that sort of stuff. We make that decision.
Yes.
It's a workshop though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Commissioner, right?
Okay.
It's a workshop to develop those things.
Yes.
Okay.
So I don't know. What do you, I mean,
No,
we
I
from
like
the
that. I like
commission-
that. But
Mhm.
we would be the ones. We would be
Yeah.
the ones who would say, "Hey,
The
if you
acceptable
use
use
the
policy, yes.
excellent." Okay,
Absolutely.
I get it now. I get it. But now, when it comes to us as individuals, that's totally different. That's totally different policy. Some communities kind of really put that, leave that to our own.
Mhm.
Some communities do an ethics code that we may want to consider. Um, and so, for example, because we are elected or appointed officials, uh, we're still residents, and we have the right to speak, and we have the right to to comment. And having said that, we also have the right to hear both the good and the bad
Right.
when we make those comments. People will not like what we may say, and that's unfortunate, but that'll happen. Um, we can make suggestions. I would just say that if you want to make a comment on let's say about anyone's website, if it's not positive, don't say anything.
I mean, those are things though that I think that as a workshop we can kind of work
Gotcha.
Right.
to deal with. I mean, if you read into
Mhm.
how he wrote some of these
Mhm.
things, like he really addressed
Mhm.
um, the transparency of it all and how that can get, there's a balance to it.
Yes.
And so,
No, I understand. It's just on the personal side that may be a little difficult, but I agree. At least the workshop will help us to address those concerns. So I get that. Uh, I again, we will work with the policy. Obviously, one of my recommendations would be I would not like anyone to make personal attacks on somebody. I would not like anybody using negative words or bad words like the F word or the S word or whatever word, things like that. Or if somebody says something that's racial or discriminatory in some sort. You know, this is just me, okay? But again, we would have to sit here and we would all make that decision.
I took care of that in item
Yeah, I
5,
see that.
letter D,
Mhm.
handling inappropriate comments, misinformation, or personal
Personal
attacks.
attacks. Yep.
Yeah.
Mhm. Okay, very good. And then the next one, removing a comment or banning
I
an individual. Yeah.
like Commissioner Earl said, it is a very delicate balance,
Mhm.
and being a governmental entity, we have certain things that we have to address and be careful of lines we don't cross. And one line we don't cross is the First Amendment. We cannot ban or hide or delete anything put on our Facebook page. Um, and again, this goes like Commissioner Earl said, it's going to be a workshop, and we're going to be addressing all of these issues. Um, so the ethics basically it's going to be a class in government ethics because I mean we're going to have to we're going to have to go through certain scenarios and work through those. And of course, at the end of the workshop, we'll come back and make a full report to the commission, and we'll go from there.
Okay.
So,
I have no qualms. I think this would be a good idea. My only concern is time. And the only other concern I have is I don't like committees to be ongoing forever and ever. So I would like once this is finished, that this committee is dissolved, that we're done. Uh, because I know there's one issue here that says who is responsible for updating the website,
yeah.
who is responsible, you know, those responsibilities. We'll probably work with the manager to address that. Not to say that she's going to do the updates. The consultant that we hire, that may be something that when we do the RFP, we will ask them that they'll update. You know, they'll be responsible for updating our website. And in some websites that I've worked in other communities, they design the website so that we, the directors or the staff, can do it ourselves.
Right.
It would be very easy for us to do. So we may not need a lot of that, but still, that's that's still something to concern to consider. Okay, uh, uh, those are my only caveats. Yes, but I don't want this committee. And again, this is my personal opinion. Uh, to be ongoing forever and ever. I would like for some time limits. I would ask that, or at least recommend that it be broken up into 2 sessions. First, help us to put together the website, come up with some,
Are you talking about the workshop still?
like, yes, the
You're
workshop.
saying 2 workshops?
Well, or half of the workshop will be to help us identify what do you want on the website. And then, unless I'm misunderstanding completely, is this just a workshop just to talk about this?
Oh no, I think that we need to get some design ideas down about what the public at large would like to see on the website. What kind of information would be helpful to be out there? I mean, we all, but I'm sure we all could come up with several ideas of what information we think would be helpful to be out there. But
Okay.
you know, um, but yeah, definitely
So can I ask you, your workshop, is this intended for commissioners or is this the commission and the public?
both.
Okay.
Absolutely. Like I said, 2 to 3 commissioners, and some volunteers from the public who might be interested in, helping us identify what needs the public have for the information to be out there.
Okay.
Okay. Very good. Yeah. Okay. Commissioner Hutchins. Yes, sir.
Just back to the basics. Administrative, legislative. Your responsibility is to represent this commission, run the meeting, it's to help set the agenda. It's our legislative end. So if if I hear something and I want to say something on TikTok or whatever else, I can't represent Parks, Township Park.
Yes.
It's her job. And the best thing you can do is if you want something responded to Parks, have your chair do it. That way it's all under control. Because I'm not going to say nothing bad about nobody or any problems or anything else in town. That's the job of the chair.
as the rep.
And administratively, that is Mary's job. If she's asked, a certain question, she can, as long as it's administrative, she can represent the administration of Holly Township Parks. That's just the two basic things. That's the foundation of this committee and the website. Legislative, administrative.
And just to be just for clarification, the reason I have access to the Holly Township Park space is because the previous that anyone on this commission would think any of us, save me, are on social media. So I took the initiative of
I'm on social media.
getting that transferred into my name. Be henceforth transferred into Mary's name because that's based on the commission, or the workshop. That's who I believe that needs to be able to answer questions. Like we've had several questions that we've gotten answered from the Facebook uh, pages. Um, doing that.
Commissioner?
I forgot about the other position we have is our vice chair. His duty is to cover for the chair and represent parks in absence of the chair. So that is unusual.
But I would like to say, though, I think Commissioner Wright has done an excellent job on not only putting the information out there, but he's an excellent writer. And when I send him notes on what, I would like to have out there, within a minute, he's sending me back a thing with a really complete and detailed, explanation. And, you are saying that you want me to be in charge of it. I actually think you should probably stay the person who's in charge of it because you know more about it. You're gifted at it. And the fact that you're also going to be involved in creation of this, you seem more the person who would be a good representative to me. And I would be happy to stay in the same position I am now, that when you send me something, I can look into it, I can give you the response or that. Or when somebody has a question, then you can send it to me and I'd be happy to do it. But honestly, I don't know enough about it and I would be willing to learn, but I don't think in this lifetime I'm going to know as much as you do already.
Well,
So,
okay, but Commissioner Hutchins has made a good point about keeping the separation. Now, the thing, and that's important, very important. But I see what you're saying, and I am familiar with Facebook page. It's not that hard. The hardest part is, as you said, writing the response and making sure that it's clear and all that sort of stuff.
Commissioner Wright should be an English teacher.
Yes, he's an excellent writer. I agree. Uh, so I think, and again, we're very lucky to have him because
Absolutely.
this will not be forever. Again, I will say that at least for now, this Commissioner Hutchins, this system works. I know that he does not put anything on Facebook without speaking with her first and making sure that the answer is as it should be, and he writes it. This helps her out. Again, it is a fine line, but I think this would be, I think it's okay, for lack of a better words. I think it's fine as long as he checks with her first before he replies to anyone. And if she feels that we should respond to that, then you can't put anything on there unless you get her approval.
But
What are
that
your
is
thoughts?
part of the roles and responsibility in this
Right.
workshop. It is addressing it.
Yep.
Like if you look at it, it specifically addresses it. So
Well, one of the things I've thought about this because he's done so much help for us to even get us on started and online. Uh, he's done this as a volunteer. Uh, oh, I bite my tongue here, but I would like to see maybe he could apply, and and but if he does, you would not vote.
I'm not saying any of that. I'm just
Yeah.
saying this is specifically about the social media website and the workshop that we're talking about today
Right.
right now, right?
Well,
I moved this on to the workshop, just sitting here.
Right.
discussing it tonight. That's what we want.
okay.
I agree.
All right, then. Let's do that then. So we agree to have a workshop. And is there any time frame or anything like that you'd like to place it, or what would you like to do? Because I'd like to get our website started. I don't want to hold it off for months.
No, I depending on who volunteers, I'm sure Manager Blanchard and I can get something up on Facebook, and we probably get some pretty
Volunteers.
pretty good interest here in the next week or two.
Okay. Are there any volunteers from the commission that would like to be appointed? Now, there can only be 2 members, and then it would be a quorum. However, if more than 2 would like to do it, you can. It's just that you will have to post your meetings and let people know that you are meeting. So it's a subcommittee of the commission. Okay.
I
So
was going to post and live stream it anyway.
okay.
So,
So oh, you were going to post the meeting?
oh, absolutely.
Oh, okay.
Transparency.
All right. So are there any commission members that are interested in being part of this workshop besides Commissioner Ray? Is there anyone else?
We've been working together at it, but we just will, and
Would you like to?
with the time frames, we'll figure it out when I hear more from the 2 of you about when and what you're looking at. I'm happy
Absolutely.
to see if that works in my schedule as well, but yeah.
So, okay, so Commissioner Earl and Commissioner Wright would like to be appointed to this workshop. Is there anyone else? Okay, I'm sorry, Madam Manager. She will be part of this.
I
Okay.
sure.
All right. All I ask is please come back at least within a month to give us the insight regarding what what you all want on our website, so that we can put together an RFP, and uh, we'll work that out and come up with it with something, and then insert whatever recommendations were made at the workshop session for that. And then the policies, obviously, the committee could come up with some draft policies, and those cannot be approved by the committee. They will need to bring it back to the commission as a whole so that we can address them at that time.
Right.
Earl?
Earl,
Mhm.
yeah. Website committee.
Okay. I like that. Website workshop committee. Okay. Very good. And thank you both for volunteering to do this. It is it's a great it's a challenging task. So okay, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Oh, I thought I thought it was Commissioner Wright and Commissioner. Oh no, that's just the appointees. I apologize. Okay, so it was motion by Commissioner Hutchins. Is there a support?
I support.
Okay, Commissioner Carl. Thank you for keeping me. Okay, all those in favor? Aye. Okay, thank you. All right, moving on to item number 8E. This is to approve new signage projects for the beach regulation sign. Uh, this is for items that are left off the current regulation sign that's located on the guard shack. We're also looking to condense signage on the beach entrance fence. And then the third is the Holly Township Parks and Recreation beach sign. Now, Madam Manager, I'm a little confused here because we did discuss a few of these items at the last meeting, and the commission did approve $1,000, no more than for you spending $1,000 to do uh, the item number 1 and item number 2. Did you already go over that? And then item number 3, which is the Holly Township Parks and Recreation beach sign, that's going to cost a lot more than $1,000. And what I think she's talking about here is to put an entrance sign. Uh, when you go to the beach, just like the one we have out here at Sorensen Park. You know, uh, is that what is that what you're looking at, or maybe something totally different?
Well, at the beach, we did put up 2 signs that had been commissioned by the previous commission that were actually made. They're not very visible from any distance. And so Commissioner Hutchins was looking at next door, the village park there. They actually have a pretty significant wooden, I think it's wooden, sign right there. And so he was discussing that something more substantial like that would be a benefit. And he also was discussing the fact that on our fence at the beach, we have quite a few smaller signs throughout that he was wondering about getting, and like a large board and putting all of those signs in one central location. So that was one of them.
So yeah,
Um,
go ahead. I'm sorry.
so this recommendation about the beach sign, the Holly Township Parks and Recreation beach sign, was new. It was not included in that $1,000
Okay.
when that was discussed. So we still have the items that were not included in the original sign that Commissioner Carl had worked on previously. Condensing the signage would be a separate thing, and the new beach sign design. I think we would have to look at that as a whole on how we want to actually do that.
Mhm.
Color.
Mhm.
Correct.
Every Lakeside Park is in Village Township. That's, There are no oasis of nothing. So it kind of
Right.
blends in with our theme. They say, oh, at the beach, at township, that's village.
Well, correct. And, and you've heard this before, even people who live within that community, last year, and I think even this year, are coming in and saying, I didn't know this was here, or I thought this was a club, or something like that. There's really nothing identifying that it's open to the public. And so I think that's one thing that needs to happen. Um, there's one thing also that is not on here that I think I would like to make you aware. I recently had discussion with a staff person, Jocelyn Marzek, with Michigan Department of Health and Human Services, and we had talked previously about needing a sign to go directly next to the beach. Advising people that if they see foam on the beach, to avoid the foam. And when I had previously, through a different group, spoken to staff person Marzak with MDHHS, she told me that she thought that they could supply us a sign that would be, have all the information that needed. And she contacted me, and we learned that she is not able to do that. She said that she would be able to give us the wording, and that would be beneficial to have on the sign, but they could not supply it. So I think that is something that this summer would be good to include in this, package, just for the sake that it's needed now. I had contact with a person who lives across Bush Lake, and have been told that their section of the lake is also getting significantly more PFAS foam than they have seen previously. So this is a concern. Just last night, and this is not related to this, I was on the statewide PFAS Citizen Advisory Work Group, and we had a presentation by the Eagle Eat Safe Fish Guide. And they recently just released in June their 2025 guidebook. And of course, our lakes are in there, Bush, Rice, and Big Seven Lake. But what is changed significantly is that previously for Bush Lake and Rice Lake, they used to say mercury, and they did not identify PFOS. And this year, I went on it last night after the meeting, specifically, they are listing PFOS as the biggest concern. And the numbers have also significantly decreased as to what they think are dangerous levels. So I'm going to bring that information further to you next month when I have a chance to get a hold of an actual copy of that book. But I wanted to bring that to your attention that even on a statewide level, they are recognizing that PFOS is a much more significant concern than it was thought of even in 2023 when they released the previous book. So that will be something in the future. But for the signage, I think it would benefit us at least to create a sign, have a sign created that we can put at the shoreline that just states that, something as simple as if you see foam, don't touch it or something like that. And I'd be happy to work with anybody who wants to help with creating that sign. But I think we can actually use the symbols. And I think Commissioner Wright had actually, in his 6-part series of the PFAS information, probably has some of that
Yeah, that's what
information
I was going to say.
that we could
Mhm.
put. But I want
Take a
it to
look at
be
that.
really simple so that the public and even children can look at it and read it and understand it.
Mhm.
So,
I think at the last meeting we talked a little bit about that, and then we said on that sign it would have additional information. We'll have the little pamphlets at the office so people can get it, or maybe put a few of them out there in the glass area so that people can read it and have quick access
I
to
do
it.
have 50 copies through a different staff person of a specific pamphlet that they have already put out dealing with foam.
Okay.
And so we'll have those available for the public. But
Okay. So I'm sorry, Commissioner.
yeah,
In your discussions with people, discuss a clam, snail, that's.
Oh, huh,
no, I didn't.
that's a good point.
I
Forgot
did
about
not,
that.
but that's a good question. I can check with Brandon Armstrong. He's a doctor through Eagle, and he deals specifically with the fish program. So maybe I can check with him directly and see.
Discuss plants,
Yeah.
stuff. Those things, they were healthy. Fine. And I don't think it was a winter kill.
Okay, so let's stick to the signs. Let's stick to the signs, please. All right, so I, I want to make sure that we do this correctly. So I know that items number 1 and number 2, I thought we had addressed them at the last meeting, and we authorized $1,000 for that, and we specifically asked to include, I think it was no glass, um, the minor issue.
Company minor.
Mhm. And then there was one other, and I can't think of it off the top of my head. It's in our minutes, but I know there was one other thing that we wanted. I know no glass, and then the minor issue, minors, and there was one more. But anyway, so that was addressed. The only thing that we did not address is the Holly Township Parks and Recreation sign, and that we before we approve this, I would like to see how much it's going to cost. It is not budgeted in this year's budget, so we'd have to look at that. And then the only other thing that I'd like to say, because we did talk about when we painted these facilities, is that we want to have the same signage. We want to conform so that when people see us, that they'll know that it's us. So maybe we should take a look at both signs and maybe do an upgrade for both, or maybe just do the sign out at the beach the same way we have it here. I don't know. Uh, so, um, what is your direction, Commission, on this, Commissioner Wright?
One question. With being out at the beach for the July 3rd celebration, I had noticed there is a sign on the fence about tobacco-free zone.
Mm-hmm.
Now, tobacco comes in multiple different forms nowadays, as well as other recreational drugs. Do we want to update that to smoke-free zone to include vapes, or did we want to leave it as is?
Oh no, I would like to update. I think that makes sense.
Yeah.
So to update.
No smoking.
Yeah,
It's
just
all three in one word.
no smoking.
And that's something that with the tobacco-free zone,
Mm.
we can't afford to, because it's not a state law.
Right,
That's just a recommendation. We would not make you smoke in this area.
right.
So if somebody says,
Oh,
I can do it, no, it's just,
so I remember the third one now. I was reading the minutes. It's on the PFAS. So we got to work on that. Okay. So I don't know how maybe perhaps the motion could read something would be to recommend to our manager to examine these three items and come back to us for further consideration as it relates to cost and development. And I would ask, and this is not part of the
Can I clarify though?
yes, please.
Does that necessarily mean that we have to wait until next month's meeting, or I can just get the information and send it?
You can send it, but if we need to take any action, then we'll have to come back here. Okay, unless you stay to that 1,000 level, then you can go ahead and move forward. Okay, you can just send it to us and say this is not going to go over the $1,000 level that you've approved. I will do that. I know the item number 3E will go over the.
No, I
Yeah,
understand.
that's that one's going to take a little bit longer, but the other two,
Right.
yes, you've been given authorization to spend no more than 1,000, and you can send us information on that if you'd like.
Okay.
Okay. So, yes, Commissioner.
Do we currently have a sign on the pavilion that says something to the effect, rent this facility?
Oh,
We do not, but that might be a good idea.
Wouldn't have to be large.
facility available for rent.
Mm-hmm. That would be good.
There's signs everywhere.
No, but that's actually a good
No,
one
it is.
as far
It
as,
is. And put a
yeah.
number on there. Yes.
And thinking, you said signs everywhere.
Mhm.
The bathroom signs are pretty ancient, old. They're faded on the doors.
We've talked about that. I have already a few on Amazon that are kind of looked at the
Yeah, maybe we ought to throw women's, men's, and
yeah.
color.
Yeah.
The ones on the door are so faded,
we already took those out, because they had to paint the building. I mean, they were
Yeah.
about 15 years old, they were brittle and junk.
So we got to put new signs, men, women.
So the men, women sign are just gonna be part of the.
When did you take them off? I put them off.
I think so.
Huh?
A week ago, I put them off because there was no signs on the
You
gate.
know, that
There's still signs on
pretty cheap.
bathrooms, gentlemen,
We
women.
can get
But relative to the door, I put them off.
So he put
They're
them up.
very faded.
Okay.
I said,
It becomes terrible paint to me. This was after they came. I put it on.
So they're back up.
They are.
They're still
They're
old.
worth.
Okay, so all right, so making sure we got this correctly. So Mary, you've already been approved for $1,000 at the last meeting, so we don't have to do that.
Yep.
You can tell us what you're doing. Send us some information.
Yep.
And then item number 3, you can begin looking at that and come up with some recommendations on that
Okay.
if you'd like. And that one, you don't have to wait till the end of the year. If you see something, we can put this on the agenda.
Can I just clarify with the other commissioners?
Mhm.
So do you agree with the idea of Commissioner Hutchins to condense all the signs that are on the fence into one board, or
I think that's what we discussed at the last one. It's up to you, just
not up
put
to
them.
me?
Well,
I'm
no,
just-
no, it is, we've already up to you in terms of how you're going to format it, because I don't know how this is going to happen. If you're going to have to add another sign, or if maybe there's a sign underneath it that says that, I don't know.
Okay.
That's why I said it's the actual look of it. And you can send it to us if you want input
Well,
from
maybe
us.
Commissioner Hutchins and I can meet at the beach and
Okay.
kind of
Come up with some signage.
Yeah.
Yep. Perfect.
Okay.
So perhaps maybe the only item on this would be to approve new signage project for maybe item number 3, or and that is for the Holly Township, or should we just do all three of them again? And there's no problem if we do that again, if you so wish. What are the thoughts, Commission? What kind of motion would you like to place here? Or maybe none, and just say it's just discussion, and we decided to just discuss this matter and not a.
I think we've given the staff direction of where we want to go.
Okay, all right then. Is that everyone concurs? Commissioner Hutchins, you're okay with that?
Wait,
Okay, Commissioner Carl.
I can't picture the village park sign.
Oh my, it's right
Uh,
there.
It's a big oval.
it's got two posts, and
Okay,
it's right near a tree.
Yeah.
It's almost facing a tree.
but that's kind of what we're trying to replicate, that exposure.
Something like that. Yes, not like maybe something, but something like that. Yes.
So as you're pulling up to our parking lot, coming off of Thomas Street,
Uh-huh.
like right there,
That
you'll see the sign of the villages right there.
Yeah.
Right.
To the right.
Now I'm thinking about where would be place for the beach. And should we consider throwing this to a sign person so we get some draft layouts for.
Gonna do that.
No, I think, we will have to do that for this number 3 sign.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we'll have to look at that.
Right. And once we come up with a design and we put it out for bid and people tell us how much they're going to charge us. Okay. And then, and also, as I said, maybe consider updating our sign here at Sorensen Park as well. But that's for later for discussion. So for now, the only discussion here or direction that we're giving to the manager is we've all discussed this thoroughly and we've given you some guidance as to where we would like for you to address this matter. So this item will come back to us in the future for final and future consideration. Okay? Anything else? No. All right, moving right along. Item number 8F. We can go round and round. Item F. Discuss converting the shuffleboard court at Holly Township Beach to a cornhole court. Okay. Go ahead, manager, please.
Thank you.
Mhm.
This had been brought up by Commissioner Carl previously, and so I did previously print off a couple of examples. There's plenty of websites actually that you can get cornhole boards made, and originally I had thought, putting our logo on there would be a good idea, but so it's been expressed to me that maybe that's not the best way to go at this point. So
It's okay.
I'm open to ideas of what we would like to have on it. I think it's a favorable idea, although I think that there are people who since have expressed to me that they think keeping at least one of the shuffleboard courts as shuffleboard is also a good idea. So if we could do one shuffleboard and one possible cornhole set, that would maybe be good.
So is that doable, manager? And the only reason I say that is because I don't know how to play shuffleboard, but I saw the discs. And so when they hit the disc, is it possible they could go to the other side and
No. You
no?
You shovel it.
Just like that? Okay, like I said, I don't know how to play it.
Raised 2 3/4 inches.
Mhm.
It
I've seen it. I've seen it.
would most likely not be the other.
Okay, that was a concern if we did that. But if there isn't any, it's great. I
Well,
like
at this point, I think it's really rare that people use the shuffleboard court at all. So the possibility might be more that the cornhole boards would be used more often than the shuffleboard,
Mhm.
and you might get more influence that way than the shuffleboard influencing the cornhole.
I-
But
I do agree that if we go this route and we give the manager to come back and give us cost figures to do that, I don't think it'll be super expensive personally. We could say, property of, Holly Township Parks and Recreation. And we could put our logo on there if we so choose. Um, I would like to maybe see us update that logo sometime in the future. It's very small and difficult to read the various activities that are on there. I'm not saying that I don't like it, but it's just it needs a little bit of update, and it is difficult to see, and when you put that together. Just my personal opinion, all right?
The envelope.
Yes, sir.
Is-
Yeah, specifically our logo. Have y'all seen our logo? You see it? So then it's
Do you
got.
want me to go get?
Yeah, would you please?
I think it was just developed.
Oh, really? Okay. Then it's got the disc golf and
Activity.
but they're really small, so you can't really.
Is this to put on the cornhole?
Yes,
Is this
yes.
what we're thinking about? Is to add it?
And I'm saying let's hold off on that. Maybe
Well, then-
instead let's you'll just see it. We're not gonna discuss the yes, sir.
One comment about shovel. Previous years, we used to have tournaments down there.
Hmm.
It isn't advertised that we have shuffleboard. The other thing is cornhole boards are about half the size of this table. They're totally corner. So you can set those on the shuffleboard court if you want to play shuffleboard on both the shuffleboard courts. And a lot of people bring their own cornhole boards with them. So it isn't that these are going to be mounted permanently to cement, be located on the sand. So you still need the shuffleboard under it and take them off and put them back on as needed. So if they ever start up shuffleboard courts again, you don't. And also this time of year, those shuffleboard courts for years I've been trying to get those ground down because there's ancient paint on those things, and all we're doing is the paint chips out because it doesn't hold. Those courts have got to be ground, primed, and use the epoxy. They'll be good for 10 to 15 years.
So we need
Sure.
some maintenance, is what I hear you say, which I think I remember when Jeff and I talked last week about this, we had kind of talked about the same thing, that having the option of the cornhole would be more immediate because of the maintenance that has to be done and whatever the expenses and all the approval, everything. So possibly the cornhole this year would be a good option to have some games out there. And
And the other thing with cornhole is a lot of people bring their own and they put them out in the grass.
yeah,
And if you notice, our disc golf practicing, it sits there and hardly anybody uses that. A lot of people don't know what it is. You know, and what's
I know we didn't get a lot of interest at the park. Nobody wanted it to
we
play.
have a big board up there. Told you the rules shuffle.
yeah, I remember that.
Everybody's got their own rules for shuffleboard. But we used to have tournaments out there.
Maybe we can do that again. So how about this suggestion? Let's look at costs in terms of maybe resurfacing the shuffleboard and still looking at the cornhole things because they are portable. So we could put them on the grass. They don't necessarily have to be there at the shuffleboard. And then maybe in the future, start promoting, especially when we do our website and we can promote and go back to having these shuffleboard tournaments.
Yeah, I grew up partially in Detroit with my grandpa. Palmer Park was bocce ball. And we used to go there 3 days a week. They played bocce ball tournaments at Palmer Park. I mean, you're talking, they packed the place.
Yep.
So there's other things, you can look at that we can instill upon people. And the other thing is, I got to get a hold of Colin Harold Peterson. And one time he said he had connection to donate a set of cornhole. The other thing is, our in-kind services, we got a shop teacher out there. We probably paid him for material. He'd have his wood shop make us some professional work. He's got artists.
The only thing is that would be for next year
Yes.
because they wouldn't be.
If you look at the date, clean it out soon.
Okay, so let's get back to this item. So it looks like we've given the manager some direction as to where to go. I think we are interested in doing this cornhole item and maybe take a look at the shuffleboards themselves and see how much it would cost us to bring them up up to date and then come back and again makes a
Would
decision.
the commission like to pursue the personalized one as opposed to just getting a generic cornhole? If we get the generic one, we could have one out there next week.
How much do those cost?
I think I think for personalized ones, I think they were a set for like up to 250. You could get them cheaper, but I think we would want to go like more of a commercial one just because it's going to be
It's us.
exposed and that. But they're not that expensive.
No.
But if you want the personalized one, we would have to decide, I don't think even that would take very long. They seem like, they're pretty quick turnaround.
Okay.
So,
All right. Come back with some dollar figures for us, Madam Manager, and then we can make some decisions. But I think we are in favor of looking at this cornhole thing, and then also maybe even resurfacing the.
We discussed this tonight.
Mhm.
And we give her direction to spend not more than $500 on a set of boards or something like that. Whether it's personalized or not personalized. That way,
Well,
we can go ahead and do this and she can get done.
okay. If that is what the commission wants, the only reason that I'm holding off on spending any more money is because this is not a budgeted item, and we may have some other budget items that we may need to take a look at. So I would ask that we hold at least for a little while to see what would happen.
If we hold, then it will be another month. Is that
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
For the cornhole boards, which is August then? I don't know. Like what, how, I mean, $500 or say $600. You don't think we have $600 somewhere?
Well, it's most. I mean, if you look at our budget, we didn't budget for anything like that. It's mostly for maintenance and things of that matter.
Under beach improvements.
Beach improvement.
That would not be a beach improvement.
I guess it would be.
Renovating the
I don't
Yeah.
think so.
game for the floors and the
Plus, we also gotta make some moves on our budget.
Yeah.
And anyhow,
I would again. I'm only one vote, but if you wish to direct the manager to buy a what do they call this, a cornhole court, just being a non-personal one, uh, at a cost of no more than $500. Uh, you can make that motion. Uh, is there anyone who wishes to make that motion? Right now, this is just a discussion. It is not a request to approve anything, but certainly the commission can make that recommendation if you'd like, or motion.
and that price is the bags and everything.
yes.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing I would comment, I've seen gutter boards that were made on a poly material, so they sustain weather. Um, just I fear having one made out of plywood,
Mm-hmm.
it might not
Last
last.
very long.
Um,
The only thing about poly is it doesn't like sunshine.
Well, then I think we need to examine what's out
Yeah.
there in the price, and I don't know if we can do that.
Yeah.
Right away.
Okay, so
If anybody would like to work on that with me, maybe we could meet here and look at the computer and see what's available.
Okay.
Okay.
So let's ask Commissioner Carl work with the manager to come back to us with a recommendation. Okay, and hopefully real soon. All right, very good. Okay, moving right along. Moving to item number 9, reports. Staff report. Welcome back, by the way.
Thank you.
It's our first day back. Welcome back. We missed you.
I appreciated it, and I appreciated all the work that the staff and our commission did in my absence with filling in, especially
commission.
at the July 3rd event, which sounded really awesome but busy. And I appreciate that.
Thank you.
So one of the things that I would bring up, and this had been an item that we had talked about to have on this agenda, and possibly for next month might be a good thing to add, is surveillance cameras. And we had talked about it previously, but it might be more of an issue now. We have discovered that our dumpster has been used by the public in several occasions, and one of them was that they filled up the dumpster with old carpet, which they had, cut and wrapped and duct taped and what have you. Um, the other thing is one of our staff people had discovered that there were like 10 cases of Little Debbie snack cake kind of packages in there. And the only reason that I say this is, not only shouldn't the public be dumping in our private thing, but um, around the time that we had the ASP people here, we actually recently got a $255 bill for overuse of our trash thing because of the work that had been done, and it created more activity than usual for our dumpster. So that was a pretty significant budget item for that particular month. That's, not usually a problem at all, that we don't usually have any kind of issue with going over our trash thing. But not only, has that been an issue, but in the past, we've had problems with people doing donuts in the parking lot and, things like that. And I just think that if we had a couple cameras up by the entrance, because we only have the one entrance, it would be easy to tell if somebody goes in with a clean truck and goes out with a dirty truck. It would be easy to identify. But, there's other areas, now we have the B yard, that would be a good thing to identify, if people are, out there. We have had people who come, not only the people themselves, but they bring their animals right up to those boxes. And how you miss the bees coming in and out, I'm not sure. But,
I don't want to wait there.
anyway, I just think that, that would be something that would be a good thing to have in the future for the safety of our residents and our buildings and that. So, otherwise, I think we have talked quite a bit tonight about, our staff and, the fact I think they're doing a good job here at the Nature Center and at the beach. There's still a couple things we need to address. And one of the things that we have recently dealt with was our liability insurance. I got just today the actual certificate of coverage. And I do have a question about this, though, because they did contact the village of Holly, and they had said the certificate of insurance issued to Village of Holly that provided evidence of coverage for Parks and Recreation was returned from the post office as undeliverable. The new address was provided, and I've reissued the certificate insurance. The address they had was the previous one for the Village of Holly. And then when they moved to the new building that they have, but I guess my concern is we answer to, well, no, we don't answer
don't
to
answer
them
to anyone.
necessarily, but the Township of Holly, and why they have the Village of Holly listed on here.
That's a really good question. I think we need to call them back. They must be confusing. Because the Village of Holly has a department, parks. We have a committee for parks, so they may be thinking that we're part of the village. Let's clarify that with the insurance
Okay,
people.
because I was just wondering, because we do fall under the village for fire. So I didn't know if
We do
maybe
not
there was
fall
some kind of
right
crossover for this
Right.
park as well.
with this commission.
Yeah.
Mm.
That's cool. All township parks in the village of in the village of Holly, but we're still separate.
Mhm.
Okay,
That's what it's-
Yeah,
okay.
we're very unique, very, very unique. When I spoke with the Michigan Township Association in their state, we are, it's very unique that we have a commission for parks, and we are, as Joe said, separate. We are elected officials. We make decisions. Unlike when Joe and I are members of the committee for the village parks, we are just an advisory board, and we have no say, just
Okay.
advise. So yes, let's clarify that. That's very important because if anything were to happen and we have the wrong policy,
Okay.
we could be in
So I'll
trouble.
follow
Good
up
point.
with that. Or,
At
Please.
one time, this was not in the village, this was township. At one time, the beach was in the township, not the village.
oh,
So
really?
as the village expanded, it us in the village limits. So that's what it was an expansion over the years. Then beach was put in 1955.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. The other thing that was brought up previously was our copier, and they did come back with a monthly lease that could be reduced to $65 per month. And Eric Morton, our consultant, he did say, let me know if you have any questions or need this in a formal proposal to the board. So I know I had indicated to him that we were going to be looking into it as well, if whether we wanted to purchase our own copier. So I'm just, letting you know that the amount that they have come back with for 39 months would be $65 a month.
And what was
It was 100 and something. I think it was 124, 229, something like that. Go back to my minutes.
Good deal.
I like that. Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm sorry, I did not include the actual contract that they previously
128
did.
and 2029. Yeah.
So
So then we have 39-month copier. Yeah, is 65.
So maybe you could bring this back, Madam Manager, for
Yeah.
us to consider. I would recommend that he give us a proposal so that we know what's included in those services. Like, for example, maintenance, uh, repair, things like that. So let's see what he has to say. They may charge us should we need something like that.
Okay.
But it would be good to know because it is a good
The
price.
toner double.
We'll find out. Let's take a look.
I can say that if it does include the services that we have, that's
It's a good price.
that's where we should be.
Okay.
So
Oh,
All right.
anything else?
No.
All right, very good. Okay, let's move on to commission reports. Let's start this way. Commissioner Wright.
um well, as some of you may know, I have not been feeling all that great for the weather. So I don't have my traditional. There's a couple things I'd like to touch on. For one, Manager Blanchard stated, the phone issues need to be taken care of. I got in contact with our Verizon representative and got a new phone number. Although we would have liked to have kept our old phone number due to it being used for so many years. The issue with the public was just getting too much, and we needed to move forward. So, we made the decision to go ahead and get a new number, and that was completed successfully. Um, I I think that's the only thing I have for you, Madam
Thank you.
Chair.
Thank you, sir. I know. I hope you feel better. I'm sure it'll come back.
Thank you.
And if you have any other things you'd like to address, just send us a note, perhaps.
Right.
Again, just be careful when you do that. 'Cause we
Oh,
can't have a meeting, so you know that. All right, very good. But thank you, sir. Okay, Commissioner Hutchins. Okay, I will go last. Commissioner Wright. Commissioner Carl.
I have nothing.
Okay. Commissioner Earl.
Only thing I have to add is that I have been working on a template for the meeting minutes. And so this will be the first month with the template, and hopefully this will be something easier that going forward, whoever becomes the secretary will have something. Now we have the computer, and we'll have a template that will make it
Thank you.
available for anyone to be able to.
Excellent. Thank you.
So that's the only thing I have.
Okay. So moving to me. First, I'm so glad you brought the minutes, Commissioner Earl. First, thank you for developing that template. It is not that simple, and for any of us who've had a chance to write up minutes, they're not that easy. They're very difficult. It is a legal document once they get approved, and that's why we have to be very concise as to what we place in our minutes. And if we say something incorrectly, it can and will be used against us in the court of law. So we have to be careful with our minutes. But I appreciate the format. So thank you. The second thing I want to thank is again the staff. While Mary was on vacation, worked very closely with the staff, so I got to meet them. The recommendation or suggestion that I would give to our manager is to sit down with the staff, the park staff, and maybe have a a meeting as to what went right, what went wrong. Have a for the July 3rd or Independence Day celebration. I have some concerns. Parking would be one of my biggest concerns. We had individuals who blocked us. And we could not move. That was a big concern. I'm glad that we're addressing the issue on signage because a lot of people just didn't even look at the signs and were smoking, things of that nature. But we did well, and even with the propane use, again, people were very good. Uh, but again, I would like a policy. Our insurance company made some really good points, and we could follow that similar type of policy. So I would like to just make a suggestion to our manager that maybe speak with the staff, get their input in terms of the pluses and the minuses as to what happened, and then maybe hear a little bit from those of us that were there. Uh, I'd like to thank Commissioners Hutchins and Bright for being there till the bitter end and working with the staff. And I think both Commissioners Hutchins and Wright, you guys went above and beyond. I cannot thank you enough for all the hard work you did. And the last I'm hoping to bring to you at the next month's meeting is to do an RFP for your consideration and approval for legal services. I think this can help us tremendously, even with signage. We do need to be careful when we put up a sign out there in terms of what we say. And even when we do RFPs as well, I think it's a good thing to have somebody review it to make sure that we're not being discriminatory or saying something that's improper or
Yeah, I
illegal
didn't
or
hear the
whatever.
first part when you started talking about the RFP.
Oh, RFP for legal services.
Oh, okay.
That's what I'm going to be. I'm sorry. And so I'll bring this to the next meeting so that you all can take a look at that. And I don't have anything else to say. Again, welcome back, manager. We're so glad you're back. And thank you for everything you do too. It gave me a little taste of what you do, and OMG. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, having heard all comments from everyone, I'd like now to adjourn this meeting. I've adjourned this meeting at 8:32 p.m. Gotta get a gavel.